Hi, boys and girls. It's Mr. Yates and Miss Garcia again. Today we're going to be going over the answers to the Thursday, April 2nd spiral math. And I'll go ahead and start right now. First of all, I just want to remind you again, make sure you got your answers on the left side and your work on the right side. So when you're checking it, it's easy for you to see what you're doing, and it's easy for you to check based on what I'm writing. And I'm going to go and start with the very first one. Number one, there were 300 students in Waynewood Elementary School. Each student made 4 invitations for the end of the year celebration. How many invitations were made in all? Okay, the first thing I want to do is make an answer sentence, and I want to make sure I say there were, and I'll just put in here blank invitations in all right now. There were blank invitations made in all. Keywords here are invitations, and make sure you have that in there, boys and girls. And make sure you're doing an answer sentence. Now, as I read through this, it looks like I'm just going to be doing some real basic multiplication. There are 300 students. Each one of them made 4 invitations, so my work's just going to be 300 multiplied by 4. And that's actually something I can even do mentally. And 3 times 4 is 12. Add 2 zeros. Add my comma. I've got 1,200 invitations. Ms. Garcia, was that what you got too?
Yep, that's what I got.
Okay, good. I'm making some mistakes a couple times, so I want to double check to make sure that I got it all correct. All right, do you want to go to number 2, Ms. Garcia?
Yeah, so number 2 reads, several students were asked to name their favorite type of music. Are more than half of the students represented by any one category, and how do you know? So then, Mr. Yates, if you want to just scroll down a little bit, I think that there's a, yeah, there we go.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and give this a little bit more make this a little bit bigger so everyone can see it. And I'll try to move this here. So let me try this. Let me move this one over a little bit. All right, we'll try it this way so we can see. Okay.
Okay, so what I did first was, because I couldn't really make my answer sentence quite yet because I had to figure out the problem. So what I did is I looked and saw what each value of how many students were in each category of music. So there's rock, country, that says jazz, rap, and hip hop, and the last one says dance. So I wrote down 14 because there was 14 students for rock.
Okay, let me go ahead and just put that in here. So basically, you saw here there's 14, so I'll just put down here 14.
Mm-hmm.
And they liked rock. Okay.
Yep. And then I added, and then I saw how many liked country, which was 10.
Okay.
And then I added 10.
All right.
And then for jazz, there were 6.
I'm going to add my little comment here to see. Okay, so, oh, I see. Jazz is 6. All right. All right.
And then rap and hip hop was in between 8 and 10. So that means that there were 9 students that liked rap and hip hop.
Okay. I'm just marking that off so everyone kind of sees where we got that. 9 liked rap and hip hop. Okay.
And then for dance, it's kind of the same situation. It was between, let me see, it was between 10 and 12. So that means that there were 11 students that liked dance music. Okay. So then I wrote that down.
So 11 students dance.
Yes. So then I added all of those together to see what my total number was. And
what did you get when you added those all up together?
Okay, I didn't write it down, so let me add them together with my calculator real quick. So I got, that's 9 plus, I got 50. So I got 50 students total. And from there, it's asking, are more than half of the students represented by any one category? So you first have to figure out, first of all, how many students are in total, and then you have to figure out how many are half the students. So then you have to divide your 50 by 2.
Okay, so I'm going to divide 50 by 2, and put
And I got 25.
Okay, so 25 is half.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And then I looked at my amount of students in each category, and none of them were above or equal to 25. So my first, so is what I wrote down for my answer was, I just said no. I answered it just no.
Okay.
And
so
then I said because, and then I just explained because none of the categories had 25 students.
Okay, so you could put no because none of the categories, and the categories means rock, country, jazz, hip hop, dance. None of the categories are 25 or more students.
Yep.
Because 25 is half of the total amount. Okay, great. That makes total sense. All right, we're going to go ahead and we'll move on to number 3 right now. I'm going to move this down a little bit. Just going to take a really quick second here to move this up so we can see more of our screen while we're looking. And I'm going to go ahead and move on here. Maybe zoom out just a smidge. All right, so we'll go on to number 3. All right, and I'll move it over to here just a little bit. It looks like we're talking about Danielle, and yes, Ms. Garcia pointed this out, boys and girls. This is exactly the same as in the word problem of the day. So, not a big mystery what the answer is to this one. I'm going to go ahead and put number 3. And we're going to go and just write up an answer sentence. So let's just say, now, pro tip, if you were doing the word problem today, this is going to be like a freebie. If you didn't do the word problem of the day, well, just make sure you do that and you'll get this one, or make sure you show your work on this. But it's pretty easy. All you're basically doing is we're going to put down an answer sentence. She drank more water she drank, and you can say Danielle too, she drank blank more ounces on Monday and Tuesday than on Friday. Now, the big thing here, boys and girls, is I really want to see that word ounces in the answer sentence. So make sure you have that on there. If you said ounces of water, that's fine too. But ounces is critical. And also I want to see the words Monday and Tuesday. And if you said drank, that's important too. And she or Danielle. So Ms. Garcia, oh, that's right, I'm solving this one. So basically what I did here is I just took, and if you did it already on the word problem of the day, you can fast forward through this part of the video. If you didn't do the word problem of the day, I want to show you how you do it right now. Really quick, I'm not going to use a model on this one, but I can if I wanted to. What I was going to do is put 58 and 2/9 ounces of water. I'm going to add it with 64 and 1/3 ounces of water. Basically right here, I need to turn the 1/3 into 3/9 because that's equivalent to 1/3. 2/9 I don't have to change because it's got the same denominator. I'm going to add 2 plus 3 is 5, and that becomes 5/9 is our fraction. I can add my whole numbers now just the way I normally would. 8 plus 4 is 12. Carry the 1, 6 plus 6, 122 and 5/9 ounces of water. Now I can take that and I'm going to go ahead and subtract my 49 and 4/9 ounces of water. And I got that number because that's the ounces of water. Oh, jet overhead right now. So 49 and 4/9 ounces of water on Friday is what you drank. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract. 5 minus 4 is 1, 1/9. Right here, we're going to borrow. 12 minus 9 is 3. Can't take 1 minus 4, so I'm going to borrow again. 11 minus 4 is 7. So I get 73 and 1/9 ounces of water. Ms. Garcia, is that what you got?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to write that in my answer sentence. 73 and 1/9 ounces of water. And we'll go ahead and move on to number 4.
Alrighty, so number 4 says, just a second. So it says a giraffe at an animal sanctuary spends 1/8 of each day sleeping. How many hours per day does the giraffe spend sleeping? So what I did is I drew a model for this one.
Good idea.
So I drew a unit bar.
All right.
So I started with a unit bar.
Ms. Garcia, what is the unit bar going to represent, do you think?
I said hours in one day.
Yeah. Day hours. One day in the giraffe's life. Okay.
So then I just kind of took it step by step. So it says there are 24 hours in one day. So boys and girls, that means that that's the total amount of hours in a day. So I wrote that at the end of the unit bar. Yep. And then it says a giraffe in an animal sanctuary spends 1/8 of each day sleeping. So then I split my unit bar into 8 even pieces.
Make sure you're making a model too, boys and girls, on yours so that it looks just like what Mr. Yates and Ms. Garcia are talking to you about.
Yep. So then you want to figure out how many hours that 1/8 is. So I drew an arrow pointing to one of them. And I said 1/8 equals question mark hours. And so how I figured that out is I took my 24 and I divided it by 8 to see how many hours each piece of that unit bar was, and I got 3.
Oh, because there's 8 equal pieces.
Mm-hmm.
Also, boys and girls, this is one other thing you can also do on this one, just to remind everybody, is that you can also take 1/8 of 24, and the expression here would be 1/8 multiplied by 24. And you're going to get the same thing Ms. Garcia did. So there's 2 different ways you could have solved this one. If you did it this way or you did it Ms. Garcia's way, either way is cool.
Yep. So then for your answer sentence, boys and girls, you should have the giraffe spent
Okay.
3 hours sleeping each day. And make sure you guys label it hours. Make sure you guys, that way we know what that 3 represents. So make sure that you have 3 hours.
All right, great. We're going to go on and take a look at number 5. Now for number 5, oh, let me just make sure I have my, now for number 5, boys and girls, this one is definitely, where is he? I was going to get the number monkey out because this one is where a lot of kids fall into the number monkey trap. I'm going to read it and we're going to go over the answer sentence, and then I want to make sure that you avoid the number monkey trap today. In a long jump contest, Carol jumped 5 1/2 feet. If Daisy jumped 1 1/3 times the distance Carol jumped, how many feet did Daisy jump? Now, boys and girls, what we're going to do here is I want you to focus really, really closely on the word times. It's not adding 1 1/3 or subtracting 1 1/3 from 5 1/2. It's that Daisy jumped 1 1/3 times the distance that Carol did. So that's going to totally change how we do this word problem if you are not reading it carefully. So I'm going to go over here to my work and I'm going to write down what I would write. I would first of all take a look at Carol's distance, which is 5 1/2 feet. And since I saw that word times in there, that clue gives me an idea that I'm not going to be adding or subtracting, I'm going to be multiplying. So I'm going to take the 5 1/2 and I'm going to multiply it 1 1/3 times. And by doing that, I'm going to get my answer sentence. Or not my answer sentence, but my answer. Now, what I have to do with this one is I have to turn each one of these mixed numbers into improper fractions. So I'm going to do that right now, and I want to make sure that you're doing this on your work, boys and girls. showing me that you turn these into improper fractions, and then multiplying. So let's go ahead and do that right now. 5 times 2 is 10 plus 1. That's 11. 11 over 2. Multiplied 1 times 3 plus 1. So that's 4 over 3. So now I'm going to get 11 times 4 equals 44. And 2 times 3 equals 6. Ms. Garcia, is that what you're getting on your paper? I just want to make sure I didn't make any calculation, reading, or...
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I have so far.
Okay, good. Thank you for helping me check.
Mhm.
Now, this improper fraction is not where we stop. We have to turn it into a mixed number right now. So we're going to turn it back into a mixed number by taking 44, and we're going to divide that by our denominator of 6. 6 times 7 is 42, which is the closest amount. 44 minus 42 is 2. That 2 is going to become, and I'm going to go ahead and write this down here because I hate to squish. So I'm going to have my 7 right here as my quotient. That's my whole number. And then the 2, which is my difference, becomes my numerator. My numerator needs a denominator, and that denominator is 6. But wait, is there more to do here, Ms. Garcia?
Yes, there is, because we always want you guys to be simplifying your guys' fractions. And is 2 6 in the simplest form? No. So Mr. Yates is going to show you guys how to simplify that.
So what I notice is that I can divide the top and the bottom by 2. And I'm going to be getting 1/3. Now I'm ready to write this as an answer, 7 1/3. I'm going to take that 7 1/3 and I'm going to move it over here and put it into an answer sentence. And please make sure you have an answer sentence. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read it again. How many feet did Daisy jump? Not a hard answer sentence to make. Daisy jumped. And I do want the name here because since there's Daisy and Carol, if you just say she, you won't know which one is which. So make sure you use Daisy. And Daisy jumped 7 1/3 feet. Making sure you have the word jumped and feet in there is critical. All right. Go ahead. And if you got confused on this one, just please make sure you email Ms. Garcia or Mr. Yates and we can help you work this one out. And we'll go on to number 6, Ms. Garcia.
Alrighty, so number 6 says there are 2 times 1,000,000 plus 5 times 100,000 plus 9 times 10,000 plus 3 times 1,000 ants in an ant colony. Write the number of ants in standard form and word form. So for my standard form, I wrote my 2.
Let me go ahead and catch up with you here. I've just got a new piece of paper because I didn't want to squish. So I went ahead, and so I'm going to label this one first. So I'll put the number in standard form. And since I don't have any work for this one, you can go across the page. And I'll put I could put a colon here or just leave it alone. And what's the number in standard form when I write it out?
So I put my 2, and then I put my comma for my 2 million, and then I put my 5, which is my 100,000s place. And then I wrote my 9, which is my 10,000s place. And my 3, that's my thousands place. And since there's nothing after that, I put my comma, and then I put my 3 zeros because they didn't specify any numbers there. But to hold those place values to make the number correct, that's what I wrote for my standard form, 2,593,000. So then it also asks, boys and girls, for word form. So let's go ahead and write the number in word form is, and then I wrote it out. So make sure you guys are checking your spelling with what Mr. Yates writes. So it's 2,000,000 500,000.
Ms. Garcia,
Mm-hmm.
we want to make sure that we say 500,000
thousand, right?
593. We want the 93 first because we're reading out
right.
593.
593 thousandths. There we go.
And I'm going to put my little hyphen here. Pro tip, please make sure you put an E in 90. I know a lot of times I see a little ninety, so make sure that you do N-I-N-E-T-Y with a hyphen. And then I'm going to go over to here, 593,000.
Thousands.
Okay. Perfect. All right, we're going to move on to number 7 now. Diana has as many songs on her Spotify playlist as Colin and Sean combined. Determine the number of songs Diana has. Then order the number of songs from least to greatest. So let's go ahead and we'll take a look at their Spotify playlist songs. They have a lot of songs on their playlists. All right, so basically, boys and girls, what I want to do is I don't see a question mark here, but I see the word determine, and that just means tell. So you're going to write an answer sentence telling me the number of songs Diana has, and then you're going to go ahead and order the number of songs from least to greatest. So there's 2 parts to this, boys and girls, so it's very important to show both of them. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at my table. Pretty easy. In order to find the number of songs for Diana, I just have to add Sean and Colin's our number of songs. So let's do that right now on my work side here. I'll take the 3,500 that Colin has, and I'll take Sean's 2,600. Add them up. And it looks like that, wow, Diana's got a big playlist. She's got 6,100 songs. That's going to last for a really long time. So
yeah.
Now that I know that, I can also look over here and put these in order from least to greatest. And actually, I'm going to try a little shortcut. Since I was ordering these up, I've already lined up all my numbers, boys and girls, right here by doing the subtraction. By lining them up really nice and neatly, I can see which ones are the least and the greatest. So first of all, let me go ahead and just make sure my accents say here that Diana has 6,100 songs, and I love to see that word songs in your answer sentence. And then you can write out the least and greatest because it says, then order the number of songs from least to greatest. So you can just do it like this by putting least here, greatest on the right. And we'll go ahead and start. It looks like Sean has the least with 2,600 songs. Colin's in the middle there with 3,500. And Diana rocks it with 6,100 songs on her playlist. So make sure you label it from least L to G or least to greatest so that we know what order you're putting these songs in. And then that is it for number 7. And Ms. Garcia is going to finish it up with number 8.
Alrighty, so number 8 reads, find 6 and 14/15 minus 2 and 2/3. So boys and girls, for your guys' answer sentence, you're gonna want to write the difference is, or if you guys do a number sentence, that works as well.
How would you write out that number sentence, Ms. Garcia?
The number sentence is going to be, so your whole number is going to be 6, and then your fraction is going to be 14/15.
Okay.
And then the second part of it is 2 and 2/3. So your whole number is going to be 2, and then your fraction is going to be 2/3.
All right. And I'll put that equal sign there for when we're going to be writing our answer. All right.
Yeah. And so when we add or subtract fractions, boys and girls, we always want to write them vertically. So you're going to want to write your 6 and 14/15 as your top fraction. And then you're going to write your minus sign to make sure that we are subtracting. And then your 2 and 2/3, and try to line them up as best as you can. So write your whole number 2 right underneath your 6, and then your 2/3, just like Mr. Yates is doing. And then go ahead and write your answer line. And so when we're adding and subtracting, boys and girls, we have to make sure that our denominators are the same. And Mr. Yates, are our denominators the same?
Oh, no, they're not.
All right, so we want to make them the same. So is how you're going to do that is you're going to want to change your 2/3 into a fraction that has a denominator of 15. And how you do that is you multiply both your numerator and your denominator by 5. And so your new fraction should be 10/15. And then if you want, you can go ahead and draw a little arrow moving your 14/15 right above your 10/15, just to help you guys see everything. And then from there, you guys have the same denominator now to where you can subtract. And you always want to make sure that your top numerator is bigger than your bottom one, which it is, because 14 is bigger than 10.
Yep.
So then you carry down your denominator because those stay the same. And then your 14 minus 10 gives you 4. And always pause right here and make sure that that fraction is in simplest form. And Mr. Yates, is that in simplest form?
Well, I'm looking at it and I notice that this is an even number and this is an odd number, and I can't divide them both by 2 then. I can't divide the 4 by anything that also I could divide the 15 by. So I'm going to say no, we can't simplify these. What did you say, Ms. Garcia?
I'm sorry, you glitched out. You said what?
Oh, sorry. So I'm saying that you can't simplify this. Is that what you found out too?
Yes, so that is in simplest form. So you guys don't have to do anything to that fraction. So then you go and take a look at your whole numbers, which is your 6 and your 2, and you subtract them. So 6 minus 2 gives you 4. So you guys should have gotten 4 and 4/15 for this one as your quotient, or your, what's it called? And your difference, thank you. I can't think today, it's okay. All right, and that concludes our spiral math, boys and girls. And just make sure that you guys are checking all of your answers, have your answer sentences, and all that fun jazz. And if you guys do have any questions or you didn't understand something with the video, go ahead and either email Mr. Yates or myself, and we will be happy to help you guys.